to maintain and manifest samadhi, like light and shadow, permeating everywhere while staying still in samadhi. This was the power to silence everything. Lu Zhou forcibly focused the heavenly writing's power before himself. There was no explosion of blue lotus, nor was there any reversing of the blue lotus's energy. Ninghan's heart sank. He cursed silently. When he looked up again, he saw the indifferent expression on Lu Zhou's face. It's been a long time since I've felt the touch of a punch. After saying this, Lu Zhou punched his wizened hand at Ninghan. Boom! Ninghan, or General Ning, felt as though his arm had been punched with the force of 10,000 pounds as he flew back. No energy seal? How did he do that? How was it possible for a cultivator to unleash such great power with his physical strength alone without condensing qi into energy? Moreover, Lu Zhou, in all appearances, was an old man. The others thought it was over when Lu Zhou suddenly flew up and dove. He appeared in front of Ninghan at a great speed. Nobody noticed the blue light shining between his fingers. Boom! Lu Zhou punched again. This time, it landed squarely on Ninghan's chest. General. The others, including Hua Chongyang, were stunned. Ninghan was a body cultivation elite. A cultivator like him was not talented in utilizing qi or condensing it into energy. Hence, he took the path of body cultivation. He wrapped his skin in energy while strengthening his body at the same time. He was a formidable foe in close-range combat. A person like him was great at taking punches. He was like a solid rock. Ninghan had lost all control when he was sent flying back. Lu Zhou dove again. He moved faster than the speed Ninghan was sent flying. He punched again. Boom! The punch landed on Ninghan's chest again. All three punches were done in a single breath. He flew out of the heaven worship platform and crashed heavily onto the limestone floor. Lu Zhou looked down at the crater. Based on this battle, he discovered his control over the extraordinary power had improved. He no longer needed to take down his target with a single hit. He was now more than capable of subduing his target using much less extraordinary power. On top of that, his cultivation base was now in the nascent divinity realm. The three punches collectively used a quarter of his extraordinary power. In total, he spent about 1/3 of his extraordinary power. According to his previous calculations, he would have needed 2/3 of his extraordinary power to achieve this, including killing Zhang Can and Zhang Renyi with the energy swords. At this moment, the platform was as silent as a graveyard. The members of the Hengshu branch and Taishu Academy stood riveted to the ground in stunned silence. All of them gulped as they watched on. It was as though no one cared about Zhang Renyi and Zhang Can's deaths. The tidal waves of energy swords had long since minced the two of them to shreds. Hua Chongyang felt his heart race. Cold sweat trickled down his back. What a savage old man. To think that a body cultivator who was skilled in punches had lost in a punching match, and to an aged individual to boot. Who could defend his honor? He dared not move, afraid that Senior Lu was a petty person who took their previous misunderstandings to heart. He had no choice. It was not as though this situation was rare in the cultivation world. Let alone the fact that he had actually fought with the old man. In Great Yan, people had warred over offhanded remarks such as, "What are you looking at?" Inside the crater. Crash! Ninghan swiped the debris on him away. He stared at Lu Zhou, who was hovering in the air. His dust-covered face and his dented chest clearly indicated that he was seriously wounded. He's still alive after 3 punches? Everyone else was surprised by Ninghan as well. He was too powerful. Ninghan raised a calloused hand and pointed at Lu Zhou, who was looking down at him in the air. What a tough punch. He fought back the pain and spoke through gritted teeth. How did you do it? Lu Zhou stared at Ninghan for 3 seconds before speaking with a powerful voice. When you clench your hand into a fist, you'll notice that fate is in your hands. Ninghan spat out a mouthful of blood. His head lolled to the side. He was no longer breathing. His eyes remained open. He was only a martial artist. How could he die in peace after hearing those words? Were they nonsense? Or were they the truth? As the saying went, the speaker had no particular intention when speaking, but the listener inferred his own meaning. Ding! Killed a target. Reward, 1,500 merit points. Hua Chongyang placed a hand on his chest and bowed at Lu Zhou. I'm enlightened seeing you win a fight with just 3 punches, Senior Lu. Despite his words, he was shuddering inwardly. Please don't be mad, old man. He lowered his head so that he would seem sincere, humble, and polite. This old man must be an 8-leaf cultivator. Lu Zhou ignored Hua Chongyang. Instead, he looked at the remaining mounted soldiers and the members of the Hengshu branch and Taishu Academy. The 3 forces retreated. Lu Zhou had no intention of killing these people, but they were prepared to kill him just moments ago. Their cultivation bases were not profound. He would not earn many merit points by killing them. He would not gain much by killing them. As the 3 forces retreated, a huge flying chariot appeared in the horizons. Hundreds of cultivators could be seen flanking the flying chariot as it sailed. Cultivators incoming. Which sect? Hua Chongyang looked up. He frowned. The Peng Lai sect? There were umbrella patterns on the flying chariot's body. They were of varying sizes and bright colors. Groups of men and women were gathered at the helm. A huge flying chariot with such characteristics could only belong to the umbrella cultivators of the Peng Lai Islands Peng Lai sect. Hua Chongyang cursed inwardly. Senior Lu was a member of the Peng Lai sect. These were his people. It was practically impossible for him to take Miss Conk away now. The flying chariot was soon upon them. A voice rang from the helm. Brother Chongyang. Why are you here? Hua Chongyang was shocked. I'm exposed? What in tarnation? Hua Chongyang looked in the direction of the voice. Shen Lingshu? Hello. I. Hua Chongyang felt like crying. There was no need to fear a godly opponent, but one should be afraid of a pig-like teammate. He felt as though he was having the worst of luck of 8 lifetimes combined. He was a great 7-leaf elite. He could have gone wherever he liked. Alas, at this moment, he was like a stray dog. Senior Lu. Who's this old man? Sheng Lingshu pointed at Lu Zhou. Hua Chongyang cursed at Shen Lingshu inwardly. You're AFC King Elder of the Core Yang sect. Although you're on good terms with the Peng Lai sect, you shouldn't be spouting whatever nonsense that comes to your mind. Lu Zhou looked up. Peng Lai sect? At this moment, an ancient voice rang from the flying chariot. The Peng Lai sect is merely passing by. We have no intentions of meddling. That will be best. Lu Zhou felt that it was time to wrap things up. He turned around and flew toward Miss Conk. He landed beside her, as light as a feather. Are you afraid? I'm not. At this moment, Shen Lingshu said, the people from the Hangchu and Taishu branch? You're here? Please help us resolve this, senior. That demon lady will plunge the world into chaos. She can't be allowed to live. The people of the Hangchu branch kneeled in unison. If they could not have her, it was better to have her killed. That demon lady knows the tongue and tune of beasts. The civilians here can attest to that. The Heaven Worship platform is objective evidence of that. I speak the truth, senior. Please help us resolve this. Their voices reached the flying chariot. A puzzled voice rang from inside the flying chariot. The tongue and tune of beats? Lu Zhou ignored them, preparing to leave. The voice rang from the flying chariot again. What's the hurry, my friend? Lu Zhou stopped his movements and replied. What is it? How can you leave when the matter isn't settled yet? Are you trying to stop me? What if I am? Whiz! With the flying chariot in the center, a bright golden light expanded. Everyone looked up. The flying chariot was now enveloped by a huge avatar. It was 100 feet tall. Under the flying chariot there was a golden lotus. 8 bright and dazzling leaves were spinning around it. An 8-leaf elite. Good heavens! Hua Chongyang cursed inwardly. FCK. He was certain that they were done for now. Just when everyone was focused on the flying chariot. Whiz! A more intense sound resonated in the air. An avatar rose from Lu Zhou. 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet. 80 feet, 90 feet, 100 feet. Everyone's attention was, naturally, attracted by this sight. Another 8-leaf cultivator. No, that's not an 8-leaf. The avatar continued to grow. 110 feet, 120 feet. 140 feet, 150 feet. 9 leaves spun around the golden lotus under the avatar's feet. Quote. A 150-foot avatar faced the 100-foot avatar as well. It was easy to tell which one was superior. No wind blew on the Heaven Worship platform for 100 meters. It was extremely quiet. The cultivators of the Hangchu branch and Taishu Academy felt as though their eyeballs were about to pop out from their sockets as they stared at the 150-foot-tall avatar. They could not even see its head. They could only see the 9 leaves that were dazzling and eye-catching. The leaves seemed like blades that kept slicing at their hearts. In Great Yan's cultivation world, aside from the legends of elusive experts who lived in seclusion, the experts whom the cultivators respected were 8-leaf experts. Those who were at the 5-leaf stage could be considered grand cultivators. Ever since the start of the lotus severing era, the cultivation world was quick to pick it up. Almost everyone severed their lotuses and recultivated for fear of being left behind. The incident of the 7 great sects attacking the evil Sky Pavilion shocked the entire cultivation world. They were shocked by the appearance of a 9-leaf cultivator. Who could stand against a 9-leaf cultivator? Nobody knew how the evil Sky Pavilion patriarch, Ji Tiandao, did it. It was a mystery that was unresolved in the cultivation world. However, the 9 leaves could not lie. The Peng Lai sect's elite in the huge chariot had intended to intimidate Lu Zhou by showing off his avatar so that he could get what he wanted. However, he did not expect the person he wanted to intimidate was a 9-leaf expert. Indeed, an 8-leaf cultivator was powerful. However, in the face of a 9-leaf cultivator, they were as worthless as grass. Hua Chongyang pressed a hand to his chest. He found it difficult to breathe. When he recalled he had exchanged blows with Senior Lu, cold sweat began to bead on his back. If the old senior had been merciless, what would happen to him? 10 seconds were not long, but it was enough to intimidate everyone, including the elite in the huge chariot. After 10 seconds, Lu Zhou's 9-leaf avatar vanished before everyone's eyes. The entire heaven worship platform was deathly silent. The elite inside the flying chariot suddenly realized how rude and stupid he had been. The old senior had withdrawn his avatar, and yet, he was still shamelessly maintaining his laughable 8-leaf avatar. He quickly withdrew his avatar. Who was this old man? Everyone had this thought in mind. They could not help thinking he might be the evil Sky Pavilion's GT Iandao. Some of them were already convinced the old man was the evil Sky Pavilion's patriarch. Land the chariot, a voice sounded from the flying chariot. The disciples finally reacted and began lowering the flying chariot. As the chariot landed, a deep voice rang from it. Sheng Lengshu, huh? Is this the evil Sky Pavilion's patriarch? Shen Lengshu was taken aback. He widened his eyes as he looked at the old man again. Compared to GT Andao, this old man looked thinner and livelier. His hair was darker as well. Apart from the fact that they were both old, this old man bore no resemblance to the evil Sky Pavilion's patriarch at all. Therefore, he did not hesitate as he said, he's not the evil Sky Pavilion's patriarch. Are you sure? I guarantee it. I was in close contact with old Senior Ji during the battle at Liang Province. I remember his words, actions, voice, and looks. They're all imprinted in my mind. It's impossible for me to mistake him, Shen Lengshu said confidently. Boom! The flying chariot landed on the ground. The disciples left the flying chariot, bowed, and said, Welcome, Sect Master. An old man, who seemed slightly weathered, emerged from the flying chariot. The only eye-catching thing about him was the extravagant clothes he wore. His brocade robes were embroidered with green birds and umbrellas. The moment he disembarked from the flying chariot, 2 disciples supported him on each side as he hastened forward. They came to a stop several meters before Lu Zhou. With a slight bow, he said, Greetings, old senior. I'm Huang Shiji from the Peng Lai sect. Huang Shiji? Lu Zhou nodded. The Peng Lai sect seldom meddles with the trivial matters of the cultivation world. Why today? The master of Peng Lai Island was also the sect master of the Peng Lai sect. Huang Shiji said, We were passing by when we encountered a powerful primal chi fluctuation. Hence, we came to take a look. We didn't expect to run into an otherworldly elite here. Lu Zhou remained unmoved. He had heard too many flatteries. At this moment, Shen Lengshu jogged over. He emboldened himself to get as close to them as possible. Then, he flashed a smile and said, Old senior. How should we address you? Lu Zhou shifted his gaze to Sheng Lengshu. Sheng Lengshu was frightened into taking a step back when he felt the pressure from Lu Zhou. I'm sorry, old senior. How dare a puny little nascent divinity realm weakling ask about a 9-leaf elite's name? A single look from Lu Zhou sucked out all the courage in him. He no longer dared to speak. Huang Shiji said, Senior, the Peng Lai sect has no intentions of becoming enemies with you. About before, you want me to give you an explanation? Lu Zhou asked. We dare not. Huang Shiji looked to his sides. He saw the Taishu Academy and Hengchu branch at the far side. He pulled a face, waved his hand, and said, Execute them now. This order startled everyone. The members of the Taishu Academy and Hengchu branch retreated in fright. Huang Shiji knew this was not the time to be merciful. He lowered his voice and said, What's this? Are my orders of no importance now? Yes, Sect Master. The Peng Lai sect's first disciple held a black umbrella in his hand. He turned around with killing intent flashing in his eyes. A few other disciples turned as well. 5 of them leapt into the air before they charged at the crowd. For a time, there was a rain of blood. Cries rose and fell. Lu Zhou did not look at them. They deserved this outcome. Besides, their lives and deaths had nothing to do with him. Huang Shiji cupped his fists and said, Are you satisfied with this, old senior? Do your part well, Lu Zhou replied. Huang Shiji shall follow your instructions, old senior. Huang Shiji bowed. The other disciples bowed as well. Lu Zhou turned his attention away from Huang Shiji. He walked up to Miss Conk. He noticed that she was not at all afraid. In fact, she seemed more curious than anything else. Before Lu Zhou could speak, she said, I've seen it before. What have you seen before? 9 leaves. Miss Conk made a golden lotus shape with her hands. When Lu Zhou heard this, he was shocked. His instincts told him that Miss Conk was not lying. Her eyes were filled with honesty. He did not press further. He found her words slightly frightening. Was it true that he was not the only 9-leaf elite? In the end, he extended his hand to her and said, Let's go. Miss Conk glanced at him and took his hand. The sun shone on the platform. The beasts of the forest had left. The birds took flight in neat formations toward the setting sun. They were chasing the sunlight. There was still hope. Lu Zhou held Miss Conk's hand in his and turned toward Jing Province City. He looked back and said, Hua Chongyang. Hua Chongyang shuddered. A great 7-leaf elite was like a small fry today. He made his way through the members of the Peng Lai sect. When he hurried past Huang Shiji, he did not even have the time to salute him. Senior Lu. The people from the Peng Lai sect heard Hua Chongyang's words. So this nine-leaf elite's surname is Lu. At long last there was another miracle in the cultivation world. Nine-leaf Lu's name will certainly shock the cultivation world. It wasn't my intention to hide my identity, Hua Chongyang stammered. Lu Zhou brushed him off. He walked toward Jing Province City. When he left, Huang Shiji and the others sighed in relief. That was close. However, as the sect master of the Peng Lai sect master, it was only natural he could not show he was frightened like the others were. Instead, he tried to appear calm as he looked at Lu Zhou's retreating back. Then, he spared the members of the Hengshu branch and the Taishu Academy a glance before he said, "Get rid of the roots while cutting the weed. Don't leave anyone alive, understood?" He was too afraid of offending a nine-leaf cultivator, but he could not offend the Taishu Academy and the Hengshu branch as well. In that case, the best course of action was to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. As to what would happen after this, he would leave it to their investigations. Shen Lengshu did not even dare to breathe loudly. He wiped the sweat off his face. That old man Lu. His aura seems even more powerful than old Senior Ji. Shen Lengshu. Here. Shen Lengshu raised his hand. He was at the top of the whitelist, and yet, he was living like a servant. He called the person behind him Hua Chongyang. Isn't he the leader of the Nether sect's 4 great protectors? Huang Shiji asked in confusion. That's right. He has a profound cultivation base, but I don't know why he's here. Huang Shiji nodded. Since he's close to Nine-Leaf Lu, Penang Lai won't let this opportunity pass us by. Don't you forget why we're here. Understood. Lu Zhou did not travel through air. Instead, he deliberately traveled on foot for the first leg of the journey to see how Miss Conk would react. Hua Chongyang followed behind him quietly. Lu Zhou stopped when they were inside a forest. He looked at Miss Conk's feet before he said, "Where's your house?" "I'll send you back." "House?" She shook her head. "She's homeless?" Lu Zhou studied her again. She was truly mysterious. Apart from being gifted in the tongue and tune of beats, she survived under such harsh conditions. Children from ordinary families would find it difficult to survive being homeless. After muttering to himself for a while, he said, "Then, I'll take you with me." Hua Chongyang called out, "Senior Lu." I have something to say. But I don't know if it's appropriate," Hua Chongyang said. "You've already hidden your identity, and I haven't cleared that debt with you yet," Lu Zhou said in a deep voice. Hua Chongyang jolted. Lu Zhou glanced at him. "Well, aren't I in disguise as well? What an awkward double standard." He shook his head. "This is not important. I'm Hua Chongyang, one of the Nether sect's 4 great protectors and the first seed of Azure Dragon Hall," Hua Chongyang said. "The Nether sect is currently the greatest fiend sect under the heavens. I'm sure you've heard of it, Senior Lu." Lu Zhou looked at Hua Chongyang and asked, "What's your point?" "Miss Conk is pure and naive. It's difficult for her to survive in the dangerous cultivation world. I can look after her. I'll treat her like my biological little sister," Hua Chongyang replied. I don't dare compare myself against you, Senior Lu. You're a 9-leaf elite, after all." Hua Chongyang lowered his head. Cultivation base had nothing to do with looking after another person, after all. If a great 9-leaf elite with a family of his own brought a child back with him, how was the elite going to explain himself? If he was a lone cultivator, he would not have the time to raise a child as well. Was one thing. At this moment, before Lu Zhou could reply, Miss Conk said, "I won't go with you." Hua Chongyang, why did you come for her?" Lu Zhou's gaze was stern. "I won't allow you to lie to me about this." Hua Chongyang's chest tightened from Lu Zhou's pressure. He had no choice but to honestly reply, "When the empire is ruled by an incompetent monarch, it's our duty to take him down. The Nether sect is only acting as the situation calls for and has the support of the civilians and cultivators of the 9 provinces. However, we're having trouble conquering Jing province. So, you plan to use this little girl?" Lu Zhou asked. Well, Lu Zhou was not wrong when he used the word use. It was the truth. Hua Chongyang appeared awkward. He looked at the young girl sheepishly. At this moment he recalled Lu Zhou was not a member of the Peng Lai sect. Lu Zhou had merely said that to fob him off. He mustered his courage and said, "I have a presumptuous request. If the Nether sect can have your assistance, old senior, I'm sure we can easily take down Jing province. If they had the help of a 9-leaf elite, they would no longer need Miss Conk or the vicious beasts at all." After he had spoken, he no longer had the courage to look Lu Zhou in the eye. After a moment's silence, Lu Zhou said, "I have no intentions of meddling in this trivial matter. However, I'm quite interested in the sect master of the Nether sect." Hua Chongyang asked in shock, "You've heard about my sect master, Senior Lu?" "A little. To tell you the truth, my sect master's master is also a 9-leaf elite like you." I wonder if you've heard of the evil sky pavilion that has taken the cultivation world by storm, Senior Lu? Hua Chongyang was invigorated. He immediately spoke about the evil sky pavilion. He was now convinced Lu Zhou was alone elite. Nine Leaf? The evil sky pavilion? Lu Zhou could not give himself away. After all, his objective was to meet Yu Zhengai and see what the rascal, Si Wuya, was up to. The evil sky pavilion master single-handedly defeated the 7 great sects not long ago. His blooming 9-leaf lotus is peerless. Hua Chongyang's tone was filled with respect. However, he realized he had spoken when he said the word peerless. He coughed lightly and corrected himself. Naturally, compared to you, Senior Lu, he's slightly lacking. After all, the pavilion master is getting old. Even if he's at the 9-leaf stage, there's still a limit to the addition to his life. Lu Zhou, you've got balls talking crap about me. How do you know his lifespan would remain the same after he's attained the 9-leaf stage? Lu Zhou asked. Even he did not dare to make such a claim. His actual cultivation base was still at the 1-leaf stage, after all. However, he had a feeling that the addition was surely more than 50 years once he broke through from the 8-leaf stage to the 9-leaf stage. You have a point, Senior Lu. I'm too uneducated, Hua Chongyang said. If Yu Zhengai has such a master, why didn't he ask for his help and flatten Jing province? Lu Zhou asked. Well, Hua Chongyang dared not speak of such matters lightly. This was his sect master, Yu Zhengai's personal matter. It was rarely brought up in the Nether sect as well. Then, he said, perhaps, you can ask my sect master in person about this. Sure, Lu Zhou replied. They click easily. Then, he looked at Miss Kong and said, I'll take you with me. A surge of energy lifted the two of them. They rose into the air and flew toward Jing Province City. Hua Chongyang nodded silently. He thought that the 9-leaf elite lived up to his name. Stability was the best way forward. He followed them quietly. The 3 of them passed through the forest as they flew. Miss Kong seemed excited by this. It was as though she had not flown before or had not flown for a long time. She pointed below and said, beautiful. Then, she lifted her conch to her lips and softly blew into it. The deep hum resounded across the skies. It was clearly an ordinary sound but was sonorous and forceful as it reached the lands below. In the forest, the beasts ran wildly. The forest rumbled as clouds of dust rose between the trees. The birds who heard the sound flapped their wings and flocked together. Some of the vicious beasts that had begun cultivating moved at lightning speed. As the 3 of them flew, the birds and beasts followed them. Lu Zhou was not surprised to see this. He merely said, conch. Oh, she passed the conch to Lu Zhou. Lu Zhou scrutinized it. It was not a weapon. It was just an ordinary conch. This was not a sound technique. Is it possible that the tune is also part of the beast's language? Lu Zhou returned the conch to her. Thank you. Surprisingly, Miss Conch thanked him. When the sound of the conch faded away, the beasts and birds stopped following them. Lu Zhou glanced at Miss Conch. It was mystifying to think that there was a person with such abilities. Hua Chongyang praised her. If this talent is used well, you'll be comparable to the brave master. Lu Zhou glanced at him and said, with these beasts alone, the beasts near human settlements were generally not very large. They would still be lacking if they were to compete with powerful human cultivators. Hua Chongyang considered this in his mind. The old senior was knowledgeable and experienced. It was only natural for him to know about many things. He was somehow convinced that Lu Zhou was trying to find out about his sect master's strength. He mulled over it for a moment before he said, naturally, these beasts are too insignificant to mention. Many beasts are merely slightly more powerful than mortals. The minority that is powerful are only in the mystic enlightening or sense-condensing realms. They can't be compared to human cultivators. However, the beasts from the 4 great forests are enough to strike fear in the hearts of the masses. When he saw Lu Zhou keeping quiet, he continued to say, not only did the Hengchu branch and Taishu Academy covet the little girl's talents, they saw the huge benefits they could gain from her as well. If they were to groom the little girl well and catch some mounts, I'm sure they'll become the greatest sects in Great Yan within 100 years. Lu Zhou had never thought about it from this angle. The little girl could subdue vicious beasts. Naturally, it was suited to taming wild beasts. Who knows how many powerful beasts there were within the 4 great forests. Even an 8-leaf elite like Panlishan had been lost inside the forest previously and nearly lost his life. He recalled his mounts, Wizard and Bayan. They were not from the 4 great forests and could not be compared. After flying for some time, Lu Zhou, Miss Conch, and Hua Chongyang finally arrived at Jing Province City. Lu Zhou glanced at Miss Conch's clothes and brought her to the tailor to have a set of garments made. Then, he employed someone to give her a wash. If the soil in her old clothes could not even obscure her otherworldly elegance, after a change of clothes, Miss Conch seemed like a fairy. Although her hair was coiled into a bun, she still seemed playful and cute. Her long dress that was girdled at the waist made her seem stately. Hua Chongyang clicked his tongue in wonder. It's difficult to imagine her being a homeless child. What kind of parents would be so cold-hearted as to abandon such a naive, pure, beautiful, and elegant daughter? Miss Conk seemed to like her new clothes well enough. When she emerged from the fitting room, she pirouetted like a graceful dancer. She relished in her new appearance. A joyful smile could be seen on her face. Do you like it? Lu Zhou asked. I do. Conk looked up and smiled. You're nice. Good. That was all? The little girl was not only naive, but she was oblivious to the workings of the world. She resembled little Yuan'er in this aspect. However, the other party would usually be on the losing end when dealing with little Yuan'er. On the other hand, Miss Conk seemed like the type to be at a disadvantage. Her being almost sacrificed at the heaven worship platform was the best proof of this. At this moment, Hua Chongyang bowed and said, Senior Lu, it's getting late. There's a curfew in Jing Province City at night. Curfew was a form of strict control over the entry and exit of a city. The citizens would not be allowed to venture outdoors at night, let alone out of the city. Lu Zhou did not seem to care as he said, there's no need to rush. He looked at Miss Conk and asked, are you hungry? Miss Conk rubbed her stomach and nodded. Hua Chongyang had no choice but to follow the two of them to the inn. Sumptuous dishes were ordered and placed on the table, around which the three of them sat. Lu Zhou and Hua Chongyang did not have much of an appetite. They only stared at Miss Conk as she ate. She was not a fast eater. She ate in small mouthfuls without gobbling down her food. She did not have the speed of a chick pecking for grain. She resembled more of a rabbit. Based on this, it seemed like she was not the child of an ordinary family. Where's your house? Lu Zhou asked again. She pointed east and said, far, far away. Do you remember where it is? Hua Chongyang's interest was piqued. Miss Conk shook her head. What is your hometown like? Hua Chongyang wanted to try and guess the place based on geographical landmarks. Conk shook her head again. I don't remember. Lu Zhou felt suspicious. Did she lose her memories? His curiosity was piqued. He said, give me your hand. Oh, Miss Conk obediently placed her hand in front of Lu Zhou. Lu Zhou placed 2 fingers on her wrist. His primal qi trickled into her extraordinary 8 meridians. After a moment, he was even more confused. She was not injured nor did she hit her head. Her mind seemed to be in tip-top condition as well. Her Dantian sea of qi was in its primordial state, indicating she had never cultivated. In other words, she was an ordinary healthy mortal. So why did it seem like she had lost her memories? What puzzled him even most was her ability to command wild beasts and her ability to evade the prying eye of truth. Would a mortal be like this? There were too many suspicious things about her, so he paid attention to her every move. She seemed polite enough. She did not have the finicky air of a child, but she did not show the maturity and composure of an adult. It was difficult to find adjectives to accurately describe her. Senior, the sun is setting. We should get going, Hua Chongyang said urgently. Are you full? Lu Zhou looked at Miss Conk. Thank you. Miss Conk nodded. Let's go, then. Then, the three of them left the inn. Meanwhile, in one of the certain nether sect's branches, Yu Zhengai was pacing up and down. Si Wuya looked at him nonchalantly and said, eldest senior brother, there's no need to worry. Hua Chongyang's performance has always been consistent. Yu Zhengai stopped pacing and said, we can't be sure. I'm worried about what we would do if he fails. We'll think of something else, then. You have another wonderful plan, wise brother? Yu Zhengai asked. I won't call it wonderful, Si Wuya said. I've gone through the recent records of the Nether sect. When did you get acquainted with the sect master of the Peng Lai sect, eldest senior brother? Yu Zhengai laughed. He said, it's a long story. When I mastered my Great Dark Heaven Memorial, I was in need of opponents. I initially intended to test my skills against second junior brother, but I couldn't find him. Hence, I had no choice but to travel to Peng Lai Island. I defeated him with 3 strikes of my saber. Basically, we got acquainted through a fight. Then, he asked, why are you asking, wise brother? If we have the help of the master of Peng Lai Island, we can easily take Jing Province City, Si Wuya said. Yu Zhenggai's eyes brightened, enlightened. You have a point. At this moment, a subordinate walked in. He bowed and said, Sect Master, the master of Peng Lai Island is here. Si Wuya stood up. His eyes were sparkling as he said, eldest senior brother, you're in luck. Yu Zhengai said, bring him in. When the flying chariot landed outside the branch, Yu Zhengai walked up to it. Si Wuya followed closely behind him. A voice rang from the flying chariot. It's been a long time. Brother Shiji, good to see you again. At this moment, a figure in brocade robes shot out of the flying chariot, guns blazing, at lightning speed. The target of the attack was Yu Zhengai. The palms of the figure glowed in the dark. Huang Shiji's sudden attack caught Si Wuya off guard. He retreated to the side and gave them some space. Yu Zhengai was in no hurry. He was calm as he stood with his back straight. His left arm was on his back as he parried the attacks with his right hand. Bam, bam, bam. Huang Shiji continued attacking with his palms. The afterimages and their radiance were dazzling. Despite the high-speed attacks, Yu Zhengai dealt with them easily and calmly. Huang Shiji was flying horizontally now. His attacks grew faster and faster, stirring up a gust of wind and leaves. The disciples from Penglai Island stood near the flying chariot and did not interfere. They merely observed in silence. Similarly, the members of the Nether sect observed in silence as well. It was enjoyable to watch elites battle, after all. From the landing point of the flying chariot, Huang Shiji kept attacking. Yu Zhengai retreated as he parried the blows. When he was at the edge of the steps, he raised his palm. His hand suddenly enlarged. Earth Shaker, an energy saber seemed to appear out of Yu Zhengai's palm before it turned into the shape of a crescent moon. He brought the blade down. Boom! Huang Shiji had to stop his attacks. He flipped backward and landed on his feet. The battle ended. Both opponents barely used 20% of their strengths. This was not even a warm-up. Even so, the outcome was clear. Huang Shiji said with a smile, "I'm surprised to see that your cultivation base has improved further. I can say the same about you. What's the matter? Am I not welcome here?" Huang Shiji asked. Yu Zhengai laughed. "I can't be happier to see you. Come inside." They entered the Great Hall. Inside the Great Hall, Yu Zhengai addressed Huang Shiji and said, "This is my wise brother, Si Wuya." Si Wuya cupped his fists and said, "Greetings, senior." Huang Shiji nodded in approval. "I've heard about the evil sky pavilions, Mr. 7th, Si Wuya. You're in charge of the Darknet and have an information network that spans the land under the heavens. Your sources are everywhere, around the Emperor and also among the common folk. Now that I've met you, I see that you live up to your reputation." "You flatter me, senior," Si Wuya replied. At this moment, Shen Lengshu carried a brocade box and walked over as he said, "This is the lotus severing survival pills that Senior Huang requested the Core Yang sect to refine." He presented the brocade box with both hands. Yu Zhengai took the brocade box and placed them on the table. Shen Lengshu was a loyal fan of the Evil Sky Pavilion. Ever since the battle at Liang Province, the person he wanted to meet the most was the Evil Sky Pavilion's first disciple. Now that he was presented with such a wonderful opportunity, he would not let it slip past his fingers. He had to keep himself in check in case he lost control and showered Yu Zhengai with flatteries. As he looked at Yu Zhengai, as expected. "What did you expect?" Yu Zhengai did not seem to mind Shen Lengshu's words. "You're as majestic, big, and tall as I've imagined." As expected of the Evil Sky Pavilions, Mr. First, Shen Lengshu said with a hint of awe. "Reward him." Yu Zhengai waved his hand. A Nether sect disciple beckoned Shen Lengshu over to receive his reward. Shen Lengshu took a few steps backward and said with a smile, "Thank you very much." The moment he retreated, Huang Shiji said, "I heard that the Evil Sky Pavilion's master has already attained the 9-leaf stage a long time ago?" "That's right." Yu Zhengai did not withhold the information from him. After all, the more powerful the Evil Sky Pavilion was, the more fearful people would be of it. "By the way, you may not believe me, Sect Master Yu," Huang Shiji calmly said. "However, when I passed by the Heaven Worship platform, north of Jing Province, I ran into a 9-leaf elite." Upon hearing this, Si Wuya widened his eyes in shock. He was the first to react. "A 9-leaf elite? My master went to the Heaven Worship platform?" Huang Shiji shook his head and said, "It wasn't your master." Yu Zhengai frowned. There was another 9-leaf elite? He was almost invincible as he swept his way through the empire because he was a peak 8-leaf elite. His peers might not even be able to defeat him. Only his master, Ji Tiandao, could subdue him. Now that there was another 9-leaf cultivator, did this not mean his plan might fail at the final and crucial moment? He asked, "Who is it?" Shen Lengshu, who had returned to the Great Hall after obtaining the reward money, chimed in, "Mr. First, I can attest to that. The person's surname is Lu. I don't think anyone knows about his origins, seeing that he's a recluse elite." The leader of the Nether sect's 4 great protectors, Hua Chongyang, was at the Heaven Worship platform as well. "You can verify this with him when he returns." "His surname's Lu?" Yu Zhenggai's expression was grim. Things were getting complicated. They could not even determine if that 9-leaf elite was a friend or a foe. At this moment, at least, he did not seem like a friend. Huang Shiji said with a sigh, "I didn't expect another 9-leaf cultivator to emerge so fast after we enter the Lotus Severing era. Do you know where the man's current location is?" "Brother Shiji?" Yu Zhengai asked. Huang Shiji shook his head. "I don't dare question such an elite." Yu Zhengai was visibly disappointed. Shen Liangji said, "The first seed of the Azure Dragon Hall seemed to be acquainted with 9-leaf Lu. There's a young girl with them as well. The girl who knows the tongue and tune of beasts." Si Wuya said, "Is that why you sent your subordinate to the Heaven Worship platform? To retrieve this girl, Sect Master Yu?" Huang Shiji asked in confusion. That's right, that girl is gifted in tune and can command beasts. If we have her help, Jing province will be in the bag. What a shame, Yu Zhengai lamented. I see, Huang Shiji said. Brother Shiji, you've been living in seclusion on Penglai Island for a long time. Now that the 9 provinces are in chaos, why don't you seize this opportunity and lend me a helping hand? Huang Shiji did not agree to Yu Zhenggai's request immediately. Deep down, he wanted to make Penglai Island more secular. Otherwise, he would not have protected a minor sect such as the Koryang sect, nor would he leave Penglai and come to the Nether sect's territory. All he needed was a chance. If he agreed to the proposal prematurely, he would be selling himself short. Yu Zhengai said in a powerful and resonating voice, if you help us, Brother Shiji, Penglai will become the greatest sect in the future. And there'll be a place for Penglai in the divine capital. Deal, Huang Shiji replied. Yu Zhengai smacked the table and said in a clear voice, Men. Yes, sect master, I wish to hold a banquet to welcome Brother Shiji, Yu Zhengai said. Congratulations, Sheng Lengshu said loudly as he cupped his fists. Si Wuya did not expect things to proceed so smoothly. He stood up and walked to Yu Zhenggai's side. He was about to speak when Yu Zhengai patted his shoulder and said, Wise brother, you must be tired. You should go ahead and rest. I'll take care of the rest. Eldest senior brother, don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Yu Zhenggai's face was flushed, clearly in high spirits. The atmosphere in the Great Hall was merry when a disciple hurried into the hall. Sect Master, the Azure Dragon Hall's first seat has returned. Bring him here, Yu Zhengai said. The people of the Penglai sect looked outside the Great Hall. The sun had already set at this time, so they could only vaguely make out 3 figures slowly walking toward them. When the lights from the Great Hall shone on the 3 individuals, the entire Great Hall immediately became as silent as a graveyard. An old man could be seen holding the hand of a young lady who looked like a fairy. Hua Chongyang, on the other hand, walked at the back as though he was an attendant. Since the people from Penglai sect had seen the old man before, they knew who he was. For a time, they stood in stunned silence as they looked at the old man. We meet again. Lu Zhou was the first to break the silence. Lu Zhou's we meet again pulled everyone back to the present. Shen Lengshu was rather quick-witted. He was the first to rush up to Lu Zhou and bowed as he said, Greetings, Senior Lu. I didn't expect to meet you here. Lu Zhou ignored Sheng Lengshu. He calmly looked at Yu Zhengai who was seated in the Great Hall. This was the first Evil Sky Pavilion's disciple. Then, he saw his 7th disciple, Si Wuya, seated to Yu Zhenggai's left. Huang Shiji rose to his feet immediately and bowed along with the Penglai sect disciples. He said, Greetings, Senior Lu. Rise. Lu Zhou waved his hand. At this moment, Yu Zhengai and Si Wuya stood up, wariness apparent in their eyes. Both of them studied Lu Zhou, wondering who he was. Since Huang Shiji accorded such respect to him, they did not dare to neglect their manners. Both of them cupped their fists together at Lu Zhou. They did not beat around the bush and asked in unison, Where are you from, Senior? Lu Zhou could no longer say he was from Penglai. How could he use that excuse again? However, before Lu Zhou could reply, Hua Chongyang stepped forward from behind, bowed at Yu Zhengai, and said, Sect Master. Senior Lu has lived in seclusion for many years in a mountain and seldom concerns himself with the trivial affairs of the world. The person beside him is Miss Conk from the Heaven Worship Platform. Lu Zhou did not care if Hua Chongyang helped him explain his origins. After all, he finally met Yu Zhengai. Miss Conk's appearance shocked Yu Zhengai and Si Wuya slightly. They looked at her. For a time, they could not understand what their relationship was. Hua Chongyang immediately bowed again before he walked to Yu Zhenggai's side. He whispered into his ear and recounted the day's events. When Yu Zhengai heard there was a possibility of a 9-leaf elite joining his cause, his eyes widened in surprise. He smiled immediately and said, So, it's Senior Lu. We're honored to have you visit the Nether sect, Senior Lu. Please have a seat. Lu Zhou led Miss Conk into the hall and sat down. Are you the Nether sect's Yu Zhengai? Lu Zhou asked. Yu Zhengai said in a slightly smug tone, Yes. I've studied in the Evil Sky Pavilion. My master is Ji Tiandao. He's also a 9-leaf expert like you. Upon hearing this, Shen Lengshu said in a fawning manner, That's right, Sect Master Yu. The Evil Sky Pavilion's master is truly a heroic figure of the times. The sun and moon pale in comparison to his 9-leaf avatar. Sect Master Yu is the Evil Sky Pavilion's first disciple and controls the greatest fiend sect under the heavens. Now that the 9 provinces are in chaos, the Nether sect merely act as the situation calls for. We will surely restructure the rivers and the mountains. Lu Zhou turned around and looked at Shen Lengshu. Is Ji Tiandao that powerful? Something stirred in Yu Zhenggai's heart. He noticed the old man's wariness. A 9-leaf expert could only be kept in check by another expert of the same rank. Shen Lengshu eagerly replied, the Evil Sky Pavilion's patriarch is not only a 9-leaf expert, but he has 9 outstanding disciples as well. The youngest of them, Miss Ninth, Si Yuan'er, entered the nascent divinity realm in just 5 years. I don't think anyone has ever managed this feat, and I don't think anyone ever will. Mr. First and Mr. Second are full-fledged 8-leaf cultivators. They're one easy step away from becoming 9-leaf cultivators. Yu Zhengai nodded in satisfaction. I didn't reward you for nothing. You're quite glib. Keep on talking. If the 9 disciples are so outstanding, I wonder just how amazing the Evil Sky Pavilion's patriarch is. After praising his idol to the high heavens, he thought he should not just continue with the praises. He needed to say something to balance the praises and also to cast Senior Lu in a better light. Talking was an art. If one could talk well, one would be able to reach great height. He continued to say, naturally, you're an outstanding individual. Now that the Lotus Severing era is in full bloom, cultivators are pursuing the 9-leaf stage and the major sects are working toward this at full force. Anyone who's at the forefront of the new era is surely an exceptional person. Moreover, you've been keeping a low profile for such a long time, Senior Lu, you must be really modest. In this aspect, old Senior Ji would do well to learn from you. Yu Zhengai chimed in, it's true that my master likes attention. I hope everyone here doesn't mind. Lu Zhou frowned slightly. He now understood why the outside world would heap the blame of all the crimes the rascals committed on the Evil Sky Pavilion. Due to his disciples, his name was pushed to the top of the blacklist. When the Peng Lai sect's Huang Shiji saw such a good opportunity to entice Lu Zhou to their cause, he said, we've known each other a long time now, Sect Master Yu. Initially, I wanted to help you take down Jing Province, but if Senior Lu is willing to lend a hand, the Peng Lai sect will willingly be under Senior Lu's command. Lu Zhou did not respond to them immediately. He looked at Wuya who was next to Yu Zhengai and asked, what about you? Si Wuya had been keeping mum all this while. Nobody knew what he was thinking. Lu Zhou allowed Si Wuya to leave the Evil Sky Pavilion because he wanted to see what choices Si Wuya would make. From the looks of things, Si Wuya seemed to have made up his mind. Si Wuya smiled and said, since you're here, Senior Lu, I'm sure you have something that you want as well. Let's hear your conditions. Everyone shifted their attention back to Lu Zhou again. Si Wuya was right, how could they have forgotten about this? Let alone Jing Province, if they had the help of a 9-leaf elite they would have a chance at taking down the divine capital. What conditions could satisfy such an individual? Something stirred in Yu Zhengai's heart. He felt slightly nervous as he looked at this old man. I want the whole world, Lu Zhou said. The others were shocked. Silence descended on the Great Hall. After a long pause, Yu Zhengai said, Senior Lu, surely, you're joking? He had been working so long to conquer the world. To him, this 9-leaf Lu's words sounded hostile and grating. My appetite and ambition have always been big, Lu Zhou said nonchalantly. Senior Lu, your cultivation base is profound. My master. The moment he said the words, my master, Lu Zhou placed his hand lightly on the table next to him. Crash! The table shattered immediately. The others jumped back in shock. Lu Zhou slowly rose to his feet. He looked at Yu Zhengai and asked, are you worthy of mentioning your master? Yu Zhengai asked, why would you say that, Senior Lu? The others furtively retreated back. They could sense an odd atmosphere in the air. The jasper saber on the saber holder inside the Great Hall was buzzing. Hua Chongyang's expression changed. After all, he was the one who brought the old man here. How could his 8-leaf sect master defeat a 9-leaf cultivator? He fell to one knee and hastily said, please calm down, Senior Lu. Lu Zhou ignored him completely. He looked at Yu Zhengai. His voice was low and brought with it a great pressure as he said, you want the world, but I want the world as well. Why? Are you reluctant to give up on your ambitions? Yu Zhengai would never hand the fruits of his labor to someone else on a silver platter. Si Wuya said in a deep voice, Senior Lu. Are you going to make an enemy out of the Evil Sky Pavilion? The Nether Sect disciples inside the Great Hall fanned out and drew their swords. Shen Lingxiao's lips trembled slightly. Then, he said, Senior Lu, please think this through. Who dared to make an enemy out of the Evil Sky Pavilion? Lu Zhou asked, so what if I am? As soon as he said these words, the jasper saber shot out with a bang into Yu Zhengai's hand at lightning speed. Yu Zhengai gripped his jasper saber tightly. His palm was wet with sweat. Huang Shiji was stunned. He did not expect this turn of events. Naturally, he should be aligning himself with the Nether Sect. He truly did not expect 9-leaf Lu was so bold as to make an enemy out of the Evil Sky Pavilion. What am I supposed to do? Yu Zhengai had never liked indecisive people. Brother Shiji, this has nothing to do with you. If you're afraid, you should leave right now. Huang Shij said with a sigh, just as well. Since I made a choice, I can't possibly give up halfway. Peng Lai Island will stand with the Nether Sect. Good, it means a lot to hear you say that, Brother Shiji. The jasper saber in Yu Zhenggai's hand shone with a golden radiance. Si Wuya frowned deeply. Their battle would start at any moment. He said again, "My master, Ji Tiandao, is on his way here." This was the greatest countermeasure they could use against Nine-Leaf Lu. Unfortunately, Lu Zhou did not seem to care at all. "Young man, you're too green." As soon as Lu Zhou finished speaking, he moved his hand. He decided to launch a preemptive strike. The jasper saber flashed brightly before it shot toward Lu Zhou. When the jasper saber approached Lu Zhou, a bluish radiance could be seen between his index and middle fingers. He brought his fingers together. Bam! The energy saber scattered and the jasper saber fell into Lu Zhou's hand. It was deathly quiet at this moment. A 9-leaf cultivator was outrageously powerful. The others felt their scalps tingle when they witnessed his strength. He casually stopped a heaven-grade weapon with his bare hands. Where would they find the courage to act recklessly after witnessing this? If a 9-leaf elite went all out, not a single person here would survive. Who would be bold enough to move? Yu Zhengai was a peak 8-leaf cultivator who lived up to his name. Although that strike was not his most powerful attack, it was not a technique that any ordinary person could deflect with their bare hands. He gulped. "I'll kill anyone who moves, and I'll kill their entire family as well." The voice resonated loudly in the Great Hall. Lu Zhou's words were clearly meant for Huang Shiji and the Nether Sect disciples. With this bold claim, the atmosphere turned even tenser. Fear rose in everyone's heart. Even the bravest among them were cowed by these words. Lu Zhou said in a deep voice, "Apart from Yu Zhengai, everyone, get lost." The atmosphere was heavy. Huang Shiji had never felt such a pressure. Although he was an 8-leaf expert with a high social standing, he had no choice but to lower his head at this moment. Everyone in the Great Hall was stunned. When Lu Zhou saw everyone remained unmoving, he said, "Stay here if you want to die." Yu Zhenggai's eyes widened. They were bloodshot. He looked at his jasper saber between Lu Zhou's fingers, afraid to make a move. He knew the Nether Sect would fall if he made a move now. "Get out," Yu Zhengai said. The others pulled long faces. "Sect master, eldest senior brother." Yu Zhengai glanced at them as he said, "I'm the master of this sect. Even if the skies were to fall, I'll carry it on my shoulders. Get out now." His thunderous voice reached everyone's ears. He understood now. 9-leaf Lu came to rain on his parade. Eldest senior brother. Si Wuya wanted to say something else. At this moment, Yu Zhengai waved his arm. A powerful blast of energy pushed Si Wuya out of the hall. Feeling helpless, Huang Shiji cupped his fists at Yu Zhengai and left the Great Hall. The others had no choice but to leave the Great Hall as well. It was meaningless to make unnecessary sacrifices. Yu Zhengai understood this. Lu Zhou turned to look at Conk. He noticed that she was unaffected by the sound wave. At this moment, there was a blur of movements as Yu Zhengai leaned forward. Countless palm seals sailed toward Lu Zhou. "Even if you're a 9-leaf cultivator, I'll still fight." Bam! 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 As Yu Zhengai attacked, a crushing aura washed over Lu Zhou. He raised his hand and struck with his palm. The script's Imperial Order combined with a blue palm seal shot out. Bam! Yu Zhenggai's countless palm seals immediately scattered as he reeled back. His mind was blank at this moment. It only took him a move. Is this the power of a 9-leaf cultivator? There was a time when he thought he could also enter the world of the 9-leaf stage. He did not think the 9-leaf stage was much more powerful than the 8-leaf stage. After all, when he was young, he had once killed a 5-leaf cultivator when he was only a 3-leaf cultivator. After one rise above the 7-leaf stage, there were rarely instances of defeating a higher rank cultivator. The difference of a single leaf was as great as the distance from the clouds to the ground. Although Yu Zhengai knew it was impossible for an 8-leaf cultivator to best a 9-leaf cultivator. The fact that he was defeated with a single strike dealt a huge blow to his confidence and self-esteem. Boom! Yu Zhengai crashed into the wall of the Great Hall. There was now a huge hole there. At the same time, he slid for a long distance before he stopped. The Nether Sect disciples outside the Great Hall, Huang Shiji and Si Wuya, stood there in stunned silence. A full-fledged 8-leaf cultivator could not withstand a single hit from a 9-leaf cultivator. Lu Zhou stepped forward and walked through a hole in the wall. He was now behind the wall of the Great Hall. The night was pleasing and stars dotted the dark skies. "Stand up," Lu Zhou said. Yu Zhengai bit back the pain and slammed his palm on the ground to bring himself to his feet. Thud! Yu Zhengai had barely risen half a foot when he crashed down again. He was shocked. "Where's my cultivation base?" He attempted to circulate the primal chi inside his Dantian sea of chi at once. He discovered it empty, as if it was bound in a cage. Lu Zhou moved closer. His aura was that of a lofty and unshakable mountain. Yu Zhengai could barely breathe from the pressure. Boom! Yu Zhengai suddenly stomped his feet and charged at Lu Zhou like a wild beast. He flailed his fists in a savage manner. Bam, bam, bam. Lu Zhou parried the blows with his palm. Punches without a cultivation base were like mere rocks. How could he be a match for Lu Zhou now? Bam, bam, bam. Yu Zhenghai attacked wildly. When Lu Zhou was bored of parrying, he pushed forward. Boom! Yu Zhenghai reeled back again. He rolled on the ground, surprisingly uninjured. Lu Zhou was shocked. Was this the characteristic of the Wuqin? Outwardly, he looked down at Yu Zhenghai and asked, "Is that all you've got?" Yu Zhenghai gritted his teeth. He struggled and pushed himself off the ground with a single hand. "I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of your master." Another huge palm seal was launched. At the same time, a pair of shining golden wings shot toward Lu Zhou from behind. The pair of wings spanned dozens of feet. Thousands upon thousands of energy needles shot toward him. Lu Zhou flipped his palm. Unnamed morphed into a shield. His energy gathered around the shield and formed a light shield. Boom! It deflected all the energy needles. Si Wuya immediately gave up on the attack and continued flying forward. Trying to take him away? Lu Zhou struck with his palm again. Another strengthened binding cage card emerged. Unlike the binding mantra, this bore the symbols of the Imperial Order. It struck Si Wuya at lightning speed. He fell to the ground immediately, his cultivation was sealed. He flipped over and retreated until he was next to Yu Zhenghai. "Eldest senior brother, I'll hold him off. You should go." Yu Zhenghai sighed. "My wise brother, you're a fool. While there's life there's hope. That won't do. The Nether sect cannot do without you." Lu Zhou looked at the two of them. He shook his head and said, "Are you still thinking of running away after being hit by my palm seals?" He got closer. At this moment, Si Wuya finally realized both of them had lost access to their primal qis. He trembled inwardly. Ding! Captured the rascal, Yu Zhenghai. Reward, 1,000 merit points. Having experienced this several times, Lu Zhou was not surprised. With the effects of two strengthened binding cage cards, it was only natural that Yu Zhenghai and Si Wuya were unable to break free. This was the second time Si Wuya was hit with this card. It seemed like the effects were just as effective. When Lu Zhou used the first strengthened binding cage card, he infused it with some of the heavenly writing's extraordinary power so that he would not be harmed by Yu Zhenghai's energy. He felt fortunate that things were still within his control. He kept these two cards especially for him. Si Wuya parted the front of his robe and lowered his head to look. Under the dim moonlight, the words Imperial Order were especially eye-catching. This was not bind, as he had expected. He said in shock, the Celestial Master's sect's technique? However, he did not think the old man before him was a member of the Celestial Master's sect just because of this. This technique reminded him of his master's binding mantra. Both techniques shared quite a lot of similarities. He looked up and studied the old man again. Lu Zhou stepped forward. When he was about 3 meters from them, he looked at Si Wuya and asked, "You wish to die as well?" Before an expert, all plots and schemes were meaningless. Si Wuya said, "If I stood by idly, I would be doing a disservice to my eldest senior brother, the Nether sect, and the teachings of my master." Si Wuya's actions surprised Lu Zhou. He remembered what Zhu Honggong told him. Si Wuya had rescued Zhu Honggong, Yu Shangrong, and Yu Zhenghai. Now, he was still trying to save Yu Zhenghai. At this moment, Yu Zhenghai stood up. He placed a hand on Si Wuya's shoulder, pulled him back, and said in a deep voice, "I've told you. This has nothing to do with you. Why must you be this stubborn, eldest senior brother?" Si Wuya asked with a frown. "Listen to me on this." Yu Zhenghai's expression was dark as he sternly said, "Get lost." Yu Zhenghai pushed Si Wuya to the side again. He had no other choice. It was not easy for the Nether sect to rise to its heights today. He had already come up with a countermeasure. This was nothing but a branch. Worst case scenario, he could just give it up. As long as there was life, there would be hope. Yu Zhenghai was no stranger to death. He had been bullied many times in the past. He met Lu Zhou's eyes and said, "One should answer for one's actions." Very well. Lu Zhou placed a hand on his back and extended a hand before himself. "I won't bully you. I won't be using any primal qi. If you can defeat me, I'll spare you." Yu Zhenghai was slightly stunned. He did not know why this old man would target him. He had no quarrel with him. He was baffled. Whoosh! Yu Zhenghai charged forward with a punch. Lu Zhou sidestepped him and tackled him with his shoulder. Bam! Yu Zhenghai flew to the side. Ding! Punished Yu Zhenghai. Reward, 500 merit points. Is that all? Lu Zhou's achievements in body tempering was not inferior to Yu Zhenghai. Yu Zhenghai had experienced countless setbacks and sufferings. Under his master's watch, he had converted his past experiences and misfortunes into motivation to work harder. Could he not defeat an old man without his primal qi? No. Yu Zhenghai got to his feet again and charged. His fist whooshed through the air and his attacks rained down on Lu Zhou. Lu Zhou dealt with the attacks calmly. He parted the winds of the punches with his fierce palm strikes. As the saying went, 4 ounces could move 1,000 caddies. Bam! Yu Zhengai reeled again. Ding! Punished Yu Zhengai. Reward, 500 merit points. Again, Yu Zhengai cried out, enduring the pain. The cycle repeated itself over and over again. Huang Shiji and Hua Chongyang did not leave. At this moment they walked into the hole on the wall as well. They stared at the scene before them with their mouths agape. So. This is how a 9-leaf beats up an 8-leaf. Huang Shiji said incredulously. He felt as though he was watching a senior beating up a junior. It did not seem like the old man was trying to look cool. I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it myself. But why would Senior Lu pick on Sect Master Yu? The two of them exchanged a glance. Miss Kong poked her head out between them and watched the battle. Huang Shiji glanced at her before looking at Hua Chongyang. Hua Chongyang understood what he was thinking. He said, no, if they took Kong hostage they were only sealing their fates. Moreover, the Peng Lai sect and Nether sect would be dragged into this. Moreover, he could not bring himself to do such a thing. Bam! Yu Zhengai kept reeling. He kept losing, but he kept fighting. He struggled to his feet and said through gritted teeth. Again, this scene reminded Yu Zhengai of the terrifying training process of the body tempering realm when he first joined the evil sky pavilion. That was a memory he could never get rid of for the rest of his life. His master had trained him with a regime that was 100 times stricter than what the others were subjected to. His training continued regardless of the seasons, whether it was freezing cold or sweltering hot. Ji Tiandao had tempered his body and will day after day, year after year. It was normal for him to be beaten up. Staying inside an icy cave naked and being exposed to the scorching sun were regular components of his routine. Perhaps it was due to his body, he successfully tempered his body and entered the mystic enlightening realm in 10 years. It would not be an exaggeration to say the hardships he went through were equivalent to the collective hardships the other 8 disciples went through, if not more. The two of them fought for what seemed like hours. Yu Zhengai had lost count of the times he was sent flying. Bam! Yu Zhengai was sent flying again. Senior Lu, I'm begging you. Thud. Surprisingly, Si Wuya fell to his knees at this moment. Without a second word, Hua Chongyang ran to Si Wuya's side and fell to his knees as well. Yu Zhengai was lying on the ground, panting heavily as he looked at the night sky. He was exhausted, he no longer wished to move. He felt as though all his internal organs were injured. Lu Zhou sighed. Hang in there, I can't let this rascal off so easily. With or without primal chi, his old bones were not made to withstand long battles. He had underestimated this rascal's tenacity. He looked at Si Wuya and asked, you're kneeling for him? Please spare the sect master, Senior Lu. Hua Chongyang prostrated himself. When he heard this, Yu Zhengai suddenly shouted, all or nothing. He charged toward Lu Zhou like a bull, advancing with much greater strength than before. Lu Zhou frowned slightly. Just how much strength does this rascal have? The Wookiee tribe, huh? Should I act shamelessly? Yu Zhengai did not have any complicated thoughts in his mind. Once he had a goal or target, he would not give up until he got what he wanted. He leapt to the side with the aura of a mountain bearing down. Whoosh! Instead of retreating, Lu Zhou advanced. He looked up and raised his hand at lightning speed. As the saying went, 4 ounces could lift 1,000 caddies. Yu Zhengai suddenly backed away, laughing. You've been tricked. He pushed both his palms down. Lu Zhou suddenly felt Yu Zhengai had the force of 10,000 ounces. Was this another characteristic of the Wookiee tribe? His finger shone with a blue light as he said in a deep voice, rise. He pushed up, holding Yu Zhengai up with his hand. The others were shocked. Similarly, Si Wuya and Hua Chongyang looked at this scene in shock. Yu Zhengai knew how heavy his technique was. He was almost certain no one could withstand his attack without using primal chi. How? Is this possible? In just a blink of an eye, Lu Zhou tossed Yu Zhengai, and Yu Zhengai sailed through the air again. Yu Zhengai fell to the ground with a loud crash before he rolled around. He felt as though the world was spinning at this moment. Lu Zhou said, trying to trick me? When Yu Zhengai came to a stop, he endured the pain and looked at Lu Zhou, clearly frightened. It did not work. He lost again. He had lost completely. Fear washed over Yu Zhengai's heart. He thought he was peerless in body tempering. Why was this old man so outrageously powerful? He felt despair rising in his heart as well. It seemed like everyone was as significant as an ant in front of a 9-leaf cultivator. At this point, you can do whatever you want with me, be it to kill or to flay me alive. He had never felt this kind of despair before. Do you think I don't dare to kill you? Lu Zhou tapped the ground lightly with his foot. Primal chi surged. When the primal chi rippled out, everyone present felt their hearts sink. This was the end. A palm strike sailed through the air at this moment. The palm shot at Yu Zhengai at lightning speed. Nobody attempted to block this attack from a 9-leaf cultivator. At this moment, all of them thought Yu Zhengai was done for. Yu Zhengai looked at Lu Zhou who was lunging at him through the air. His consciousness wavered. This strike reminded him of his master. In the end, he closed his eyes. Forget it. Death ends all troubles. At this moment, he felt incredibly relaxed. Everything would become the past eventually. He was born with nothing and would not bring anything with him when he died. Why should he stubbornly cling to his life? Whoosh! A breeze caressed Yu Zhenggai's face. He expected the palm strike to split his head and the troubles and pain would disappear in an instant. However, nothing happened. I'm still alive? His thoughts were still with him. He could still control his body. He could still move his fingers. The entire place was silent. No one dared to move. Yu Zhenggai opened his eyes. He saw a hand in front of him, only a fist away from him. It did not follow through. He asked in confusion, why? Lu Zhou retracted his palm. I'm acquainted with your master. I'm only here because of another person's request. Yu Zhenggai, Si Wuya, Hua Chongyang and the others were shocked. Inside the Great Hall, Shen Lengshu and the others who were slowly making their way toward them heard this as well. They pulled long faces. After all this trouble, Nine-Leaf Lu was on the evil Sky Pavilion's patriarch's side. They knew each other? That was quite a fright they had. Yu Zhenggai asked, did he ask you to come? He did. Lu Zhou nodded. Yu Zhenggai frowned deeply and said, if he sent you here to teach me a lesson, I'm afraid that I'm going to have to disappoint you. He struggled to his feet with great difficulty before he said, I won't submit even if it means I have to die. Lu Zhou appeared puzzled as he asked, do you hate him so? Hate? Yu Zhenggai shook his head. A teacher for a day is a father forever. As a disciple, I have no right to hate my master. What if he has his own reasons for his actions? Lu Zhou asked. Who's going to care about my reasons, then? Yu Zhenggai asked loudly, clearly agitated. Preposterous. Lu Zhou wanted to curse at him. However, without the memory crystal, he could not be sure about the truth. If things were truly like what Yu Shangrong, Si Wuya, and Yu Zhenggai had said, there was no doubt he was in the wrong. However, he had a feeling there was more to the matter. He could not think of a reason or motive for Ji Tiandao to commit those acts. Although he was a brash and hot-tempered person, it did not make sense that he raised and nurtured 9 outstanding disciples just to kill them. Lu Zhou's remark calmed Yu Zhenggai down. Yu Zhenggai sighed and said, I admit, I'm not doing his kindness justice. Lu Zhou turned to look at Yu Zhenggai. At the end of the day, Yu Zhenggai's current cultivation base was given by Ji Tiandao. Senior Lu, may I have a word? Yu Zhenggai made an inviting gesture. Lu Zhou turned back to glance at Miss Conk. Miss Conk looked at Yu Zhenggai and smiled. Don't give up, all right? Under the moonlight, her pure and simple smile with her curt advice made Yu Zhenggai tremble. Don't give up. There were many things that he had yet to accomplish. How could he easily think about giving up? Yu Zhenggai said, look after her. I'll kill anyone who dares touch her. This surprised Lu Zhou. His rascal was not as shameless and despicable as he thought. The two of them walked into the forest. The moonlight grew dim. Thud. As soon as they entered the forest, Yu Zhenggai fell to his knees wordlessly. Lu Zhou was taken aback. He didn't recognize me, right? It should be impossible for him to do so. As a transmigrator, his personality and temper were very different from Ji Tiandao's. With the appearance alteration card and the fact that the two of them had not been in contact lately, there should be no way for Yu Zhenggai to recognize him. Even someone as intelligent as Si Wuya could not recognize him. How did Yu Zhenggai recognize him? Senior Lu, please give me 6 months, Yu Zhenggai said. Lu Zhou asked skeptically, 6 months? What do you mean? Since you're here on my master's request, I'm sure my master will listen to you, Yu Zhenhai said. Of course, Lu Zhou said proudly. When I met Brother Ji, you were still playing with dirt. That's why. I humbly ask you to give me 6 months, Senior Lu. 6 months later, regardless of whether I succeed or fail, I will surely go up the mountain and own up to my sins, said Yu Zhenggai earnestly. 6 months. Lu Zhou was in no hurry to answer his question. He knew he could easily take Yu Zhenggai away if he so wished at this moment. However, if he did that, who would deal with the imperial family? Previously, he had no intentions of looking for trouble with the imperial family before this, but time and time again, the imperial family had provoked the evil Sky Pavilion. Is world dominion that important to you? Lu Zhou asked. It was not a good thing for cultivators to be overly covetous of power and position. Scenes of the past surfaced in Yu Zhenggai's mind before he replied, it is. Lu Zhou looked at Yu Zhenggai and said, I can spare you. But you'll have to answer my questions. Let's hear them, Senior Lu. First, where's your master's memory crystal? Rongshi, Lu Lan, Yu Zhengai answered curtly. Where is it, exactly? I don't know. Second, what's sealed within the memory crystal? This was one of the answers Lu Zhou wanted to know the most. Since he could not find it at the moment, he chose to ask about it for now. Yu Zhengai replied in a slightly uncertain tone, it should be the same as Yun Tinluo. As for the other memories, Nobody knows. Lu Zhou nodded and asked again, final question, why are you so cold toward your master? In other words, what drove a wedge between the both of them? Yu Zhengai answered, I'm not being cold. I merely have no choice. Oh, just because you're from the Wuqi tribe? Or is it because you've had a hard life since young? Lu Zhou asked. Yu Zhengai was shocked. He looked up at the old man before him, dumbfounded. Lu Zhou said, I've heard something from Yu Shangrong. Is Brother Ji trying to study the nine-leaf stage through both of you? Yu Zhengai did not expect the old man to know this much about the evil sky pavilion. After a moment of silence, he nodded and replied. That's true. All right. Lu Zhou increasingly felt that the matters between the 9 disciples and Ji Tiandao were becoming more and more complicated. At this very moment, a melodious tune from a flute reached them from the Nether Sect branch's great hall. The melody was mellow and pleasant. Many pairs of blue eyes appeared among the trees. The flute sounded louder and louder. It was full of vigor. The beasts inside the forest crept closer. The lady who knows the tongue and tune of beasts. Yu Zhengai said in shock.